Hi, welcome to Bright Hope Creations. I'm Kara, and today we're putting together a magic iris snow globe. So we're using snow globe scenes, over the mountain borders, tiny gingerbread, the magic iris, 3 rings, 1 cut with the insert die, and an extra one to color, and then the other pieces, 3 of the stabilizers, 3 of the sausage pieces. The Magic Iris Snow Globe add-on with the base trim cut out of the shimmer cardstock in the tropical pack, the pink color. And I'm also using it as my base, but I'm using the back side of it. You can see it's a little darker, but here it is compared to the raspberry cardstock. So it's kind of in between there. All right, also using the Season's Greetings line border in cilantro and the little arrow of the Magic Iris in cilantro as well. And the Snowflake Trio and Snowy Sky stencils. So to start this out, I'm using the Snowflake Trio on my background and the Yeti ink. Now Yeti ink is a pigment ink, so it will sit on top of the paper so the white stays white and it needs a little time to dry. It has a very creamy consistency, so it's very easy to blend through the stencil. I'm going to add some extra snowflakes on the borders because the border area of my panel is what you're going to see because the snow globe will be in the center. The large snowflakes will add a bold interest to the background, but without taking away from the snow globe in front. All right, speaking of the snow globe, it takes 3 rings to make the magic iris, but I have an extra ring I'll use to decorate the front of the globe. And I also have a centerpiece here. I'm using speckled egg distress oxide, and I'm coloring the insides of the rings that are going to make up the magic iris, and then I'll color the entire ring that will be in the front. Well, I'm also using broken china. The speckled egg and broken china together made a blend that I was looking for my sky. So here's the ring that will be in the front, and I will just blend all around it, and also that centerpiece because that's going to be seen through my iris. And then I have to leave those to dry. Now I also ink blended those 3 sausage pieces or the blades of the iris. And now that they're dry, I'm going to use my Yeti ink again and put in some snow falling inside the globe. So I'm going to go through this twice. So I'm inking up or ink blending that white through the stencil. And then I decided I wanted some more snow. And what's really fun about this snowy stencil is you can just put it back down and it really gives kind of a dimensional look with the between the Yeti ink and all the little snowflakes on there. So here you can see it again. And then I'm going to do it for all of these sausage pieces. I will ink blend it first one time and then move the stencil just a little and then ink blend it again. Well, while I wait for that pigment ink to dry, it's time to start stamping. So I have my Misty and the images that I'm going to use on the snow globe. So I have that little scene with the gingerbread house and gingerbread man, and that's from the snow globe scenes. And I'm using jet black ink to ink all of these. But the little gingerbread people down at the bottom are from Tiny Gingerbread. And that tree is from the Over the Mountain Borders. Now there is a cookie tree in the Tiny Gingerbread, which would have been fun too, but I'm going to be using the Over the Mountain Borders, and so I wanted to use the trees that looked like those. All right, starting with some coloring, I'm finding shadows where I want for the white, and that's with a cool gray. And now I'm just going to fill in my gingerbread house and all the little gingerbread people. And these are small images, so I'm just filling everything in with my base color first, which is an E31. And I'll just show you this gingerbread man, and I kind of colored them all the same. I'm shading with an E13 and then also with an E15, and I wanted the teens because that's kind of a red brown, but I didn't start with the base color being a teen. The E11 is kind of a pinky brown because it's the lighter of the red browns, and so I wanted to have a real brown base there. Now here's the E15 coming in, and I'm shading on the left and lower areas to kind of make it look like the light source is coming from the upper right. So that's just how I decided where to put these shadows. So under that frosting on the roof and by the door, I decided the door would be brown. I wasn't sure at first, so I left that white, but then I decided, yeah, it'll be brown. All right, just blending that all in together with my base color, which was the E31. And now I decided, because the shadows are a bit darker, I felt like the shadows of the white needed to be a little darker too, just to kind of match up. So I moved up to a C2, so cool gray 2. I had a 1 on there, but decided it needed to match up with the browns. I'm adding some RV04 to kind of match up with the background of the card that we inked those snowflakes on. And so into the candy and the heart. And then with an RV09, just going to shade a little bit, again on the left and the bottom. And then I'll use a YG07 to color in the rest of the candy and the little guy's scarf. And then I'm going to use the YG09 to shade those in. So just give a little curve to that scarf. And now for those trees, using those same YG colors, the 07 and 09, I'm going right under the lines in the trees so that it looks like there's snow on the tops of the trees and coming off the branches, but that you can see a little of the green inside. Now I can take all the coordinating dies and cut those out, and there they are. They're all set to go on the card. I cut more of the little gingerbread people than I needed. I wasn't sure how many I was going to use. All right, well, now that I have everybody ready, it's time to finish up the scene. So with the over the mountain borders, I'm lining up the hill line with the line of the snow on the snow globe scene, so that when the iris is open, it's one consistent line across. So I'm stamping that down, just lining it up and inking it up, stamping that down, and now I have my scene that's going to be consistent on the globe. So I'll color those in, and I'm coloring these trees in just the same way as I colored the other trees. And then I'll cut it out with the coordinating die, and this will be the base of my snow globe. And here you can see how they kind of match up when the iris will be open. All right, well, it's time to put the magic iris together. I start by inserting the blades of the iris into those notches that were cut out in the one ring, and then make sure that they are all lined up around the ring. I'm using 3/16 inch glue dots, and that is as big as you want to go. Too big and the iris won't work. So use 3/16 inch size glue dots, and there's a little X on each of those blades to show you where to put them, and just laid another ring right on top. And then that's just going to be held together with those 3 glue dots. Once I have that pressed down, I'll turn it over, and there are 3 stitch line marks that show where to put your adhesive. I'm using Lawn Fawn's double-sided tape. You can also use a tape runner for this. I took off the release paper, and now I can add the stabilizers. And I am putting them right up to the circle. They have a curve on the ends, and it goes right to the circle. All right, now I'm turning it over, and it's time to put the handle on. And again, I'm using some double-sided tape, and this is going to go right up to the curve as well. And it lines up with one of the stabilizers and makes a V on the bottom. And that's how you know it's in the right place. Just laying one more circle on top and then adding some more double-sided tape to my stabilizers, and then I'll take off that release paper and fold it over. Now with this, I'm not having the stabilizers go all the way to the curve. I'm just kind of putting them about the same distance away from the stitch line as the stitch line is from the circle. So it gives it room to move inside. You might be able to fold them up to the stitch line, just see what works for you. All right, I'm going to glue on the handle, and that's just a decorative piece because the handle is already on there. But then it has a little bit of stitching on it, and I've got the arrow cut out of cilantro cardstock, and I'm going to pop that in the center there. And the iris mechanism is all finished. So time to decorate. I am putting on some more double-sided tape. Again, you could use a tape runner for this, and just putting it all over the top. And then I'm going to lay my snowy scene onto the top. That's the decorative piece. Now I'm going to glue on the trim onto the base, and this is using the Lawn Fawn glue tube. And so put those on there. I really like this pink and blue and green color combination for Christmas. It's bright and cheerful and fun. I don't know, for me this time of year it gets very cold and snowy, and it's nice to just have something bright and cheerful. A little double-sided tape on the base, and then I'm going to set that onto my circle, and I'm deciding where it needs to be on the card by placing it on the panel. So do you have a favorite color combination for Christmas time? My living room is bright red, kind of a lime green, and aqua and cream. It used to be for Christmas burgundy, gold, and cream. So quite a difference, but yeah, I like to have a color scheme when it comes to Christmas time. On cards, anything goes. All right, adding some double-sided tape just to those 3 stabilizers on the back so that everything can move, and then some foam tape on the base so it's the same height as the iris. And now I will position it on my card. I could have put the center in first. That might have been a good idea before I pressed it all down, but I get away with it. It's okay. I've gotten very comfortable with ripping cards apart and putting them back together, so I've had a lot of practice with this. Well, all right, I glued the scene onto the circle, and I'll use a tape runner just to put some adhesive on the back of that, and then add that circle into my globe. Now it's just a little tight, so I pick up the globe itself at the top and just pop it in there, and it worked out just fine. All right, closes nice, and it's all set, except time for the little details. So I'm going to add in that shine from the globe onto the back, and just putting some liquid glue where those shine marks are and putting on those little pieces. Thankfully, I didn't lose those because those are the things I lose. So pop those in, and there they are. I'm adding some liquid glue to the Season's Greeting line border, and I'll pop that onto the base of my snow globe, and then find the apostrophe and the dot for the I so that I can glue those on. It's easiest if I put a little bit of glue right where I want it and then add the little piece, instead of putting the glue on the piece and then trying to get it down, because then if I kind of move it around, I don't have glue everywhere. All right, deciding where I want to have these little gingerbread people and an added tree, and that's what brings my scene out into the main part of the snow globe from the inside. Gluing all those little pieces down, and then I want to tuck the lines, the ends of the lines, on my border back behind my panel, and that way it'll kind of stay where I want it to stay, and put a little glue on those lines and glue it down. And after that, I'm ready to add this panel to the note card. So a little adhesive on the back and a 4¼ by 5½ inch note card, lining them up and pressing it down. I decided to use the Lawn Fawn glitter pen to add a little bit of shimmer to the snow on the trees and on the ground. And that's when I realized that I didn't put any shadows on my pieces that I had just glued down. So I'm taking the C2 marker and just lifting them up a little bit, trying to get a bit of shadow behind and to the left of them so that it's just like the other trees and the pieces inside the magic iris too. Well, now I can go back to glittering up everything and sew a little glitter on that shine and on the blades of the iris and on the main part of the snow globe as well. And I'll lift it up here to see if you can see some of that shine on there. And our snow globe card is complete. Well, in this case, it might be powdered sugar. I don't know. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video today and it inspired you to make a snow globe scene for yourself. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye.